LP says,
You are.
all for you, Speedway for me, expensive games, last days, next day, that ain't love, slow it down, etc. Coop. Cole don't have those in his catalog. I love the Fonte love. It's really dope.
No,
Clayton is Sleep says,
hold on.
Once
That's
an
a part.
Addict is my favorite J. Cole verse. How do you
It,
feel about it?
that's not his best verse to me. We have a hardcore North Carolina following apparently, and it's showing in the Fonte love. It's not changing any of my sentiments about Cola. Did you hear? Hold on, Mike. You were asking me before the show started. You were like, "What's the best hip hop song or verse this year?" And I was thinking to myself, "Well, damn, same song, same guy, because it's Johnny P's caddy, and the verse probably belongs to J. Cole. You feel me?
I'm
That
with
was
you.
that was out. Because how about this? This is my off of the top head thought when you taught me that. And so the off the top of the head thought is kind of like the eye test in basketball or football. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you said it to me, I immediately thought about him on Johnny P's caddy, that song, how that song played, in his verse. I have to think about it further to pick somebody else that puts him in pole position.
You're right.
Fonte doesn't have one guest appearance that makes you feel or think that offhand. Do you understand what I'm saying? Fonte don't have one guest verse where you hear it and 5-6 months later, one of your friends comes to you and is like, what's the verse in the song of the year? And you're like, that nigga Cole is the first thought. No, Fonte ain't got it like that, man. Like, and y'all need to stop that in Carolina. They think that.
Well, speaking of which,
Shout
Pusha
out
T went out there and
Pearl,
said,
Vietnam, Central, like, yeah, yo, Dub C, like, but no.
Pusha T went out at his show and said that It's Almost Dry is album of the year still. Do you think that It's Almost Dry is 2022, excuse me, album of the year so far? We're in June.
No.
Okay. I agree.
Ransom better. Shay Noir's album is better. Black Star's album is better. Specifically, those three albums.
Yeah.
I was listening to Tana Talk 4 today. This is a great year for 4 Mike albums. You know what I mean? Or 4 out of 5s. 4 Purple Tapes. It's a great year for 4 Purple Tapes out of 5, Mike. Because there's a lot of 4 Purple Tape shit going on. All right? A lot of 4s.
Yeah.
Tana Talk 4. It's Almost Dry. Mr. Morale. God Don't Make Mistakes. Continuance by Currency and Alchemist. Love the Genius.
You think Mr. Morale's a 4?
Yeah, it's a 4.
It's a very interesting album because it's very strong in its high points.
Yeah, it's very low.
I think
in terms of replay value, you have to be able to play this stuff. You can put Death Certificate on today, Mike.
Yeah.
You can put Death Certificate on today. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're right. I do it all the time.
Right. I was saying Death Certificate specifically because I know you be listening to Death Certificate sometimes.
A lot.
Right, because it's dope. It's fuck.
I think that the writing that Kendrick displayed on this album is some of the best writing of his career and of 2022, but it just doesn't come together in that way where, like you said, the replay value is there.
It's some of the best writing that you'll find, period. Earth Gang with Ghetto Gods is better.
That is.
Yeah, so
I think that's better. Yeah, that's better than It's Almost Dry. And you know what? I think off top, It's Almost Dry, and I have kind of I had a lukewarm reaction to it, but I think off top, man, No Fear of Time and Earth Gang's album are just easily better. Like, without discussion, without me thinking about it.
Those are without discussion better. And then the Ransom and the Che, if you dig in on them, it's like, well, he had more highlights, but they're better from beginning to end.
Yeah.
So the most he could hope for right now is 5th place if It's Almost Dry.
And it's June.
And it's June. Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying.
Drillmatic ain't came out yet.
Well, Kendrick's album's not a top 5 rap album this year. That's not going to happen.
Wow.
Because KD3 is on the way.
KD3 is on the way. Lupe's on the way, too. I don't want to sleep on that.
Gibbs might still pop up out of nowhere. Yeah.
Drillmatic is coming. I think Drillmatic's going to be strong.
Yeah. Like, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is not even going to go down as a top 5 rap album this year. So that would probably be like a hot take for this show. It's like, that's not going to be a top 5 rap album this year.
So what does that mean for Kendrick? Does that mean anything?
It means a lot. It's the first time he hasn't made a top 5 rap album in a year. But also, too, ain't nobody ever been outside like this in a year where he dropped that.
I was about to say that.
Which is exactly what we were saying. Let's compare what it is that this guy does when everybody's outside. And what is when everybody's outside, guess what?
He's not the top dog.
It's just I'm not saying that in a shady way. I don't think people understand it. It's like, no, Kendrick is the
And
only
that was no pun
MC.
intended
Hold on,
either.
hold
That
on.
was just off
Kendrick
top.
is the only MC that's come out post 2005 that I even think deserves real top 20 consideration. So I obviously think highly of him. He's the only one that's come out post 2005 that I think deserves top 20 consideration. Like, as in, like, off the top of my head, is Kendrick Lamar one of the 20 greatest MCs of all time? Yes, he is. It's like, is J. Cole? It's like, oh shit, I don't know. Pull the catalog out again real quick. Let me see the verses. Let me see. You get what I'm saying? He's the only person that I'll slide in there unquestioned. So I think highly of him. But this also the first time he's been outside, or everybody else been outside. And does he have the album of the year?
Yeah.
Well, no. And that's, hold on, Mike. Well, that would kind of prove the point that we've been making and that we've been saying. And so people need to kind of like get off of us a little bit, because all we've been saying is like, no, I know you're great. I know you're all-time great. Will you come outside and release a project when everybody else is outside and great, and see how you stack up against competition in a competitive sport?
Well, you sound like me when I'm talking about Steph.
No, it's very comparable to Steph in the sense that it's like, well, how you look when these other guys on the court balling. Because like I told you,
got to finals MVP out of 5
what I told you, the problem with Steph in really 4 of the 5 finals that he's played in, it's like, well, he's been the third best player on the court most of the time, because for at least 3 of those finals, it was like LeBron and Durant on the court, right? Like for definitely for 2 straight finals, LeBron and Durant were on the court while he was balling his ass off and nobody noticed.
Yeah.
You want to know why? Because you were the third best player on the court. You're balling your ass off, and them balling their ass off puts you as the third best player on the court.
Now, in 2017, Mr. Morale might have scored higher points with its peers.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's why it's been so hard to rate his classic albums. It's like, well, who came out with something that could fuck with Damn?
Yeah.
Well, I told you the biggest competition he ever had was Life is Good, the year Good Kid, Mad City came out.
Yeah.
Life is Good is like Nas's 7th or 8th best album. It might be his 6th best album on a good day by a stand, Mike. But really, realistically, if you have Life is Good any higher than like 6 on your list, you're not being realistic about his catalog. So his biggest competition for all the albums he ever released prior to this year was Nas's 6th or 7th or 8th best album. That's not viable comp now, is it?
It's not. LP with the super chat says, no album higher than a 4 yet. Brambleton's still great. Yeah, we got...
No. I'm saying there's a lot of 4s floating around. That Black Star's a 4.75. I think that Che and that Ransom's a 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that Ghetto Gods is probably a 4.5.
007 with the super chat says, Nas is touring worldwide. He is rhyming. He is in rhythm. Then the tour with Wu-Tang later this year. That tells me what mode he's in. KD3 will be album of the year. You heard it here first. I like the mode. Listen, if Magic is a warm-up, I love the mode he's in. If Magic is a warm-up and it's an in-between situation, and like you said, you're touring with Wu-Tang of all people, you hearing these records night in and night out, KD3 is probably going to be some crazy stuff.
Right.
So, well, I guess we can leave it on that note, right? I mean, we can probably get to our ratings and stuff on Friday. I know we went on some wild tangents and whatnot, and we're like 3 hours in.
I was about to say, we went on so many tangents, we didn't get to one of the core points in our show, was actually doing some MC ratings. How about this? How far are we in? Did you want to just do a little AZ talk right quick? Because I know we kind of got into it. But
we did some AZ talk. Okay, how would you rate AZ lyrically? You want to do that?
I was about to say, where are we time-wise?
We're like 3 hours and 12 minutes in.
Okay, yeah, it's time to wrap up. That's usually...
Yeah, we gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta
go. We'll do this Friday, and we'll be more organized about that on Friday, because I don't think anything's coming out this Friday specifically.
I will say this. Can I just say this about AZ right quick?
Uh-huh.
He has put together... See, I think a lot of what happened to AZ is that when that Firm thing didn't go well, and, there have been talks, and Nas has even said it in an interview one time. There was a time where it was like, fuck that nigga A, and that nigga A was like, fuck that nigga Nas. So they've had riffs. And I think the riff happened kind of like after the Firm album.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like kind of 98-ish to 2000-ish, there was probably a falling out. I think the comeback is on The Fly. It's on Stillmatic. Because if you'll notice, there's no AZ on I Am, Nostradamus, Lost Tapes. He totally disappears. He's on Illmatic and It Was Written, and then he doesn't come back till Stillmatic. And so I think there was a falling out between them. But what he did in that time, and you'll probably remember this record. Do you remember Pieces of a Man?
Mm-hmm. Very dope album.
And 9 Lives?
Yeah.
Well, those albums kind of started AZ's independence, and I was thinking, like, AZ's independence is actually one of the blueprints for what groups like Griselda have done. And so when I'm hearing him on Griselda years later, and then I'm pulling his catalog back out, it's like, man, actually this road that Griselda traveled, well, Rock Marcy and AZ were there first. And
that's a very interesting take.
Yes, well, here's what I'm saying is that, well, AZ, because of the Nas affiliation. And this is what I mean about how rap always wins, Mike. That verse on Life's a Bitch changed his life forever because it put him in the room with people like Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
And people like Nas, and gave him the type of relationships that, listen to what I'm about to say, AZ is really one of the first niggas to take this independent ball out of New York and run with it.
You're right.
That's what I want to talk about more, because when I'm looking at his catalog, it's like AZ is the one that started that quiet money music and started getting that quiet, independent money without being concerned with having to get a Nas feature or a Dr. Dre track or a track from Primo, even though there's Primo shit in there.
His feature on Illmatic lasts forever. Like, it's always going to be a part of hip-hop.
So listen, so when you're talking about street records, it's like I always tell people this. It's like, well, Shook One's Part 2 isn't a bigger street record than Life's a Bitch, so weigh it properly. And the verses aren't better. It's not. Life's a Bitch is a more timeless theme than they Shook, because ain't no such things as halfway crooks, Mike. What's the more timeless theme? What's the better lyrical performance? Does one of those songs has an actual jazz musician playing jazz on it? You get what I'm saying? A street record.
Life's a Bitch has the better lyrical performance. But
it's not even a question of lyrical performance.
Yeah, but the overall song, I'm going with Shook Ones. The Blue Collar Hustler with the super chat says, everyone was outside in 2012. Nas, Lupe, Killer Mike, Blue, Meek Mill, Game, Rick Ross, Future, Crit, and Joey Badass. Very similar to this year. LP says, NC Cats downplayed Fonte and Steph, shaking my head, LOL. Right, Steph is from Carolina.
Hold on. Steph is a top 15 player, and Fonte is a top 5 MC out of Carolina, probably top 3. Actually,
is Fonte better than MJG?
Okay, so hold on. Can we say something right there? Because one of the things that I want to cover when we do the rankings, because I talked to Cuz today, and you know, he's like my wealth of information and where I go to for my stuff. Well, he said something to me that's strong about a couple things that I want to bring up right quick if I can. I'm just going to go to my notes because I was literally taking notes while he said this. He said a couple things about our ratings list. First of all, he said, are you sure voice and delivery shouldn't be put together the way you put together freestyle and live performance and the way you put together content and subject matter?
I think we got to put some things together. I agree with that.
Because it tends to go hand in hand. And the only thing that I had for him, because he said the guys with the best voices usually have the best deliveries. They kind of go hand in hand. And I said, well, Jay-Z would be the outlier to that. And he said, well, that's the only outlier, really, if you really think about it, of an all-time great delivery and not an all-time great voice. And when he said that, I was like, and I sat there.
What about Kanye?
Huh?
What about Kanye? I think Kanye has a really good delivery, not a great voice.
His delivery is not where those other guys are to me.
Okay.
Like, his delivery is not where Jay or Meth or Big. Like, he's not that.
Okay.
Like, his delivery is not even better than Nas's delivery, and I would put Nas at the low end of this discussion on delivery. You feel me? Just to be fair, how I would put Jay at the low end of lyricism for the high end people, I would put Nas at the low end for the delivery people. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, oh no, he's not Biggie or Method Man with his delivery, but he dope as fuck with his delivery, but low end. And so I don't even think Kanye is that. But here's another thing that he brought up. And I found this funny coming from him because this is the dude that put me on to 3-6 and DJ Quick and shit like that. Social impact. He said there needs to be a way to weigh social impact. He said, I don't know how you need to do it. And it's funny that he said that. You know what I was listening to when I was pulling into his neighborhood? Bring the Noise.
I figured you were gonna say Public Enemy.
It was, and this is literally by chance, and I played it like 3 or 4 times, so all the white people in the neighborhood can hear me. Once again, back gets the incredible Rhyme Animal, right? And so when we're talking about Chuck earlier and what he does for Ice Cube and for Tupac, and even when Cuz is saying this, and I had to finish his sentence, he was like, that social impact matters. He was like, because he's like, when you influence the social impact, you take somebody like Tupac, and I said, and that makes him greater than Biggie. And he looked at me and he nodded. He said the social impact of it. And we talked about the bar that you shared about what lyrics are with, I remember Marvin Gaye used to sing to me. And and this is the music producer talking. He's like, yeah, man. He said, it don't got to be complicated for it to be lyrical and be a bar.
That's what soul is, And
that's exactly what he said. He's like, that shit hits your soul.
Yeah. Top of that with the super chat says Dynasty or Beg for Mercy. Off top, I'd say Dynasty, but if somebody said the other way around, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Off top, I say neither.
Jay Short says, isn't Supreme Clientele 2 dropping this year? I believe it when I see it.
I told you I didn't believe that because Kanye was involved. I told you I believe that when I had that talk last year.
Kanye puts out albums. All right, guys, let's get up out of here, man. We really appreciate y'all rocking with us. And, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you already haven't on According to Hip-Hop on YouTube. Hit the bell icon. All the people that are listening to us on streaming platforms. If you want to join this conversation live, make sure you go to YouTube, follow According to Hip-Hop, or subscribe to According to Hip-Hop on YouTube. Hit the bell icon so you know when we're going live. And, yeah, man, we're going to see y'all Friday because I'm sure we got a lot to get to on Friday as well.
Steph is top 15, but he's not KD.
Nope.